21st of December, Rabbi Moore, Parsha Hashevua with Rashi, Shemos.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. Let's go. Yeah. Pasuk Yud Gimel. I think you're up to your turn. Actually, Yud Gimel. Lou.
Vayavidu Mitzrayim es Bnei Yisrael b'farecha.
Beforech.
B'farech.
Okay.
Okay, so what does it mean? It means the Egyptians enslaved the children of Israel with labor.
But we see this particular word beforech means back-breaking labor. Okay.
Okay, b'farech, with back-breaking labor. Voda kasha, with a hard work. Mefareshes es
Mefareches es haguf.
mefareches es aguf. That it's back breaking to the body.
Yeah, well, mefareches means lefarech means to crumble. That crumbles the
Body.
body and breaks it.
Barto, and it breaks it.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
Okay,
Let's go.
is that the end of the Rashi?
That's the end of the Rashi.
The end of the Rashi.
Okay. Maya, Pasuk 14.
Okay. V'yimaru et chayehem v'avoda kasha v'chomer uvilveinim v'chol avoda basadeh et kol avodatam asher avdu vahem b'farech. Okay. So it made their lives bitter with hard work.
Okay, they embittered their lives with hard work.
Okay. B'chomer, with the mortar and the bricks, I guess. And with all work in the fields.
Yeah, it means with all agricultural work as well.
Oh. Okay, so it called avotam, so that all their work that they worked
all the work,
was
all the
backbreaking.
work that they enslaved them was beforech.
Beforech.
Meaning, what the Pasuk's acting over here, there wasn't easy work. You know, it wasn't some easy work and some hard. Whatever the Egyptians enslaved the Jewish people was backbreaking labor.
Yeah.
Somehow they managed to make everything, including washing the dishes, that it should be backbreaking.
I'm laughing because I once worked in the kitchen on the kibbutz, and that was back-breaking labor in washing all those dishes.
Yeah, especially it was probably one of the, they thought you were one of these, how you say, these chutzlaretz, American boys who, we can treat them as we like.
Right, exactly.
They're too idealistic to open their mouths. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. No Rashi on that. Pasuk Tesvav.
Tesvav. Vayomer Melech Mitzrayim la Yaldot Ivriot Asher Shem Ha'achad Shifra V'Shem Hashenit Pua. Oh, okay. So let's see. The king of Egypt said to Yaldot. Well, we know that Shifra and Pua were the midwives, so I guess it's a midwife.
Yeah.
Said to the Hebrew midwives.
Said to the Hebrew midwives.
Right.
The name of one who was Shifra, and the name of the second was Pua.
Pua. Okay. So Rashi, there is a Rashi on this. Lam Yaldot, to the midwives. Hahu Lishon Molidot.
Okay, now Rashi's going on a grammatical point over here. Okay, now Rashi's saying,
the cause to bear, I guess, huh?
Yesh loshen kal, yesh loshen kovet. Okay, k'moy shoiver umeshaber, doiver umedaber, kach moilet umeyalet. Okay. So Rashi's saying there's two ways of expressing to words to give birth. One is in the Loshen Kal, which means in the simple active form, which basically means that it doesn't actually mean in the what we call the Kal form, because that's in an active thing. But we would we're talking about the we're talking about the there's an active form, meaning actually the hifil form. Okay, that's what Rashi says. Kach moilit, right? And then you have meyaleit. Okay, which means also in a way a causative form, but it's in rather being in the simple conjugation. Moilit is meyaleit. Okay, so here that's what we have. Show you. Rashi's giving a parallel. Shoiver umeshaber, doiver umedaber. So the truth is, even though they mean the same thing, but they are actually of two different. They're not exactly the same meaning, because one is a more intense form of the other.
Right. The PL is more intense, I think.
Right. That's called the actual PL. We call a Loshen Koved, a heavy conjugation, is actually Loshen what's otherwise known as a PL. So the most common thing is Shoiver and Mishaber. It's translated, Shoiver means to break, Mishaber means to smash. Okay, who shavar et hakos means he broke it. Who shiber et hakos means he smashed the cup. Okay, doiver means to speak. Medaber is to how do you say? To speak intensely. I guess I'm not sure exactly how would you.
Isn't midaber is like to tell a story though?
Most cases, where it says Vayidaber Hashem Moshe Lemor, for instance, that's classic. Vayidaber, the daber is actually the intense form. Okay, that's more indicative of he spoke with an idea of a conversation, that there was a listener. Doiver doesn't necessarily indicate that there has to be a listener.
Oh, okay.
Doiver Ermes Bilvavoy. in words, he's saying that the quality of this person speaking is that it's always dover emes b'vava. He can even speak in his heart. Right? He's not speaking to anybody particularly. That's called dover.
Right. Okay.
Whereas medaber means that I could speak to somebody else. But anyway, I call upon him over here. I'm not. It sounds from what Rashi's saying that miyal do. What's the lashon over here? La miyal dois ivrios sounds a more intense form than the moili dois. Moili dois are also midwife, but miyal dois means it's more intense. I guess they have a more active participation in the birthing process than would necessarily what moilidos would be. I don't know.
Surprising because it says that the Jewish women were very robust.
No, 1 second. We're talking about before that.
Need less help.
I understand. But nevertheless, the king of Mitzrayim spoke to these Shifra and Puas, obviously weren't just attendant at the birth and making sure nothing went wrong. They were actually positively helping the Jewish women to give birth. Albeit, Lamais, it says later, but it doesn't necessarily if that was true. That's what they said. They said this story. It says, you know, Jewish women are so fast, quick on the trigger, right? That even before we get there, they've already given birth.
Right.
Whether that was indeed so? I don't know. This is the story they told Paro.
They lied.
Obviously, this is an union of pikuach nefesh. They didn't want to. So I don't know. It's obviously what are the basic their message to Paro is that they give birth by themselves. So they don't really need us. So it's not really an opportune moment. Chazal say, the Medrash says that Paro told them, as you are bringing the baby out, strangle the baby, and then nothing happens. It happened naturally. That's what he wanted to say.
If you look at the Rashi on Pasuk 19, he goes to great lengths to tell us that Judah is like a lion cub, and Naphtali is like a gazelle, and Yosef is like an ox, to support the idea that the women were like animals in terms of the fact that they needed less help giving birth.
Right. Yes, but was it indeed the case always? B'terem tova aleim hamiyaledes v'yalodu. Rashi says, Rashi explains in Pasuk Yutes, the Pasuk says, the women, the midwives, they had not yet come to them, and they've already given birth. Was that indeed true? Certainly, Shifra and Pua made it that such in these times after Paro made his decree. Could well be that they changed their form of not just schedule, but changed their form of operation, that they did not come on time to the Jewish women, and the Jewish women gave birth by themselves. Prior to that may have not necessarily been so, but they wanted a story to be able to tell to Paro that they couldn't carry out his plan.
Well, there's actually two themes going on here. If you look at the Rashi, it's commenting on the phrase "for they are midwives," and it says that.
Yeah, that's not an accurate translation, by the way. They are midwives. Okay, maybe we will wait till we get to that passage, because if it's not, in the not too distant future, Bez Hashem, hopefully today we will get there.
Okay. So we'll continue with Rashi then. The next Rashi says Shifra, who's one of the
midwives.
Midwives.
called
So
Shif.
says Zo Yocheved. This is Yocheved. So why do they call it Shifra? Al Shem She Mishaperet et Havalad.
She would improve
Oh,
the
improve.
physical situation of the child.
Oh, improve.
Um,
Okay.
I don't know how much is practiced today. I think it's coming back in. But there is this thing which Gemara mentions about of putting the limbs in place.
Oh,
Because as a result of the birth trauma, the child can happen that the joints get displaced. So
uh-huh.
therefore, they put them back into proper place. That's what it
Wow.
means over here. Shemishaperes, she actually physically improves the blood.
Improves it.
Okay?
Okay, and then let's see, Puha. Zo Miriam. Oh, this is Miriam. Al Shem Shepoa U Midaberet Vehoga
The
Levad.
blood.
Okay.
Okay,
So
this is Miriam on the count that she would poya, like coo, umedaberes, and speak
speaks.
soothingly, and speak like in soft tones to the child.
Oh,
Kederach
okay.
hanoshim hamafaises tina kaboicha. In the same way as women do, right, to calm a child who's crying. Ooh, shushu my whatever.
Okay, so there's another. Oh, there's
And
another.
then Rashi's now going to explain this Lashon Pua, Lashon Tza'aka.
So that's
I will scream out like a woman giving birth. So here it means,
Oh,
so Rashi's saying a little bit, it means not necessarily crying out in a loud voice. It means giving out noises from one's mouth. Right? It can be shouting, ah, or ooh, ah,
uh-huh.
right? But it means non-articulated sounds.
Oh, okay. So it says Kimo Ka Yoleda Fe. So that's let's see, Yoleda. That in or maybe it's Ba Yoleda in childbirth. We just had that, right? Ephah is do we lose Rabbi Moore?
Rabbi Moore, are you frozen? Yes, we lost him. Kayoleda, Yalda means to give birth. So Kayoleda is like a woman in birth, giving birth.
Oh, so like one giving birth, I guess Shitzakash, well, F must mean the same thing, cries out.
To cry out.
Uh-huh. Okay.
She cried out like a woman in giving birth.
Giving birth. Okay.
All right, so I'll go on while we're waiting for him.
Okay.
So Vayomer Biyaledchen Es Ha-Ivrios Urei Sen Al Ha-Av Naim Im Bain Hu Vahamiten Oso V'im Bas Hi Vachaya. Okay, so it means, and he said, when you assist the Hebrew women, and you help them on the birth stool, on the birth stone. If it's a boy, kill him, and if it's a girl, let her live.
Wow.
Okay, so be yaled chen, in your assisting the childbirth, kamo be cholidechem, it's like assisting the childbirth. So it's just giving another word.
Uh-huh.
Al ha av naim, on the birth stool, Moshav Ha'isha Hayoledis. It's the stool that the woman gives birth on. It's interesting because it says if you see the word Evan, stone, Ha'ev Naim, so it's actually birth stone is probably a better translation than birth stool.
Right.
Uve makom acher koro mashber. And in another place, it's called mashber. Mashber. What does mashber mean? I don't know. My footnote says that's probably where they're getting birth stool from. It's Isaiah. Here comes the rabbi. Uche mohu, and similar to it, oseh melacha al ha'avnayim, doing work over, it says the settings, but avnayim looks like
No,
stoning.
are the potter's stools. Welcome back. Of Noam are the potter's stones. That Rashi goes on to explain. Moshav kli umnes yotzer cheres. A potter, he has a special stand where he sits.
Yeah.
That sounds funny. Yeah, he has a special stand where he sits. But anyway, he's like what's called a potter's wheel, where he sits there and he has pedals underneath, and the pedestal, the potter's wheel, spins, and he thereby shapes the pots or whatever into the right shape. Okay, so those are called avnoim. Okay, so similarly here, this is the birth stool over here is called avnoim. So Parsha said to the midwives, when you give birth, deliver the Hebrew women, and you will see them on the birth stool. In ben hu v'amiteno isoi, if it is a boy, right, you shall kill it. Kill him. Bimbasi, but if it's a girl, v'choya, you shall let her live. Okay, the next Rashi, Lou. Ben hu.
Lo haya makpid ella al hazicharim. He was not concerned. He was only concerned about the males. She'amru lo itz tag ni nav. That his astrologers told him she'atid lehi va'leid bain, that in the future there will be born a boy, Moshiach Osam, who will be a Mashiach to them.
Moshe is a savior for them. Okay,
Doesn't it mean to be anointed? Moshiach?
that's with a ches. Here's with an ayin. from nursing Yeshua.
Ah, I see. I see. Okay, so the reason he was focused on the boys is because his astrologers told him that a boy was going to come and cause trouble. The chaya, she shall live. The sich, yeah, she shall live.
Yes, so
But
Rashi
the
says,
chaya and the word sich, yeah, are the same.
yeah, no, what Rashi's pointing out over here is not that you shall necessarily positively keep them alive, but it's a passive thing. The tichya, it says over here, Mashenekeva, not he lived. Chaya, if you could also mean, the word chaya can mean she will live, or she lives, or he lived. Kitamo mila'el. Okay,
According to my footnote, there's a disagreement between Unclus and Yonasan. Unclus says, keep her alive, and Yonasan says, she shall live, passive, like you just said.
right,
Rashi agrees with Targum Yonasan.
right. Because it says, where is it? Uskai, yeah, the Targum says that Uskai Mina, you should keep her alive. Okay. Okay. Next pasuk. Pasuk 70. Mea.
Okay. Says Vatirana miyaldot et Elokim velo asu kasher diber aleihem melech Mitzrayim v'techayena et hayeladim. Oh, so let's see, Vatirana. So they were afraid. The midwives were afraid of Hashem.
Feared God.
Of God, okay, and they did not do what he said.
As kasher diber alehem melech Mitzrayim.
As he said to them. As he said to them.
V'techayena es hayeladim. And they kept the children alive, the boys alive.
The boys.
Now Rashi's going to add a point over here, because if they didn't listen to what the king of Egypt, obviously they kept them alive, because that's what the king of Egypt had told them. King of Egypt told them, don't put them to death, right? Kill them as they're born. And they says the apostle, they didn't do that. So why does it have to say especially and they kept the children alive? Okay, so Rashi adds a point that it was an extra thing. Let's see Rashi.
Okay, v'tiyena et hayeladim. So they kept the boys alive. Mis sapkot lahem mayim umazon. They gave them water and food.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay, now this really should be on the separate Dibra Maskal on Pasuk 18. So I'm not sure how we're going to divide this now between the two of you.
I yield the floor to Meir.
Okay, thank you. But anyway, Rashi's referring here to this in Pasuk Yud Ches. Again, these same three words appear, but they're with a different meaning. Okay, let's see Pasuk Yud Ches. Vayomer Melech Mitzrayim.
Okay, so well, it says Vayikra Melech Mitzrayim. So
yeah.
The king of Egypt called them. Okay.
Called for the midwives.
Lam Yachadot, so midwives. Vayomer lahen, and he said to them, Adua asiten hadavar hazeh. Why did you do this thing? But tichayena et hayeladim. Oh, that you kept the boys alive.
Right. Now, notice where you yourself translated Vatachayenu es hayadim, and you kept the boys alive. Okay? And in the previous passage, you translate Vatachayenu es hayeladim means they kept, because it's talking about a narrative. The midwives feared God, and they didn't do as the king of Egypt told them. And they kept the boys alive. And here the same words. You translate it, you kept the boys alive. And I'll be telling you that both times you are correct.
Uh-huh.
And this is what Rashi is going to explain.
Oh, okay.
Because the form techayeno can be a second person plural or a third person plural.
Oh. Oh,
This is
okay.
exactly what Rashi is going to explain.
Okay. So let's see. So what we already said, misapkot lachem mayim umazon. So they gave them water and
Provide them
food.
with water and food.
Okay. Targum Arishon. So the Targum translates.
The first time it says vatechayeno, right?
Oh, okay. Vikayama.
Right, v'kayima, yes.
Oh,
V'kayama.
okay. So that they shall be established.
No, v'kayama means they kept them alive.
Oh, they kept them alive. Okay. V'hasheni, and the second time, the kayem 10.
Right? That you kept them alive.
You kept them alive. Okay. Lefi shelashon ivrit. Oh, because the Hebrew language, okay. Nikevot rabot, the feminine
Means
plural.
feminine plural.
Okay. Teva zo because yotze va. So teva, this word.
And anything similar from like a similar kind of similar conjugation.
Okay. Misha meshet lishon palu.
Mishamesh loshon pa'alu,
It's used as a language.
Okay, it means it uses in the sense of pa'alu, they did,
Oh,
and
they
also
did.
loshon pa'al 10, you did.
Oh, wow. Okay, Kigon, and now it gives examples, I guess. Vitomarna ish.
This is later on in chapter, where is it? Chapter 3, I think. Chapter 2.
19.
Yeah. Chapter 2, chapter 2, Pasuk Yud Tes.
Yud Tet. 2 Yud Tet. Oh yeah, Vatomarna ish. Oh, that's
they said, Ish Mitzri, an Egyptian gentleman, Itzilonu mi'ad Oraim, saved us from the shepherds.
oh. Okay. Dalo lanu by yash.
Okay, whatever, but a couple in Rashi's going to cover the word Vatomarna means they said.
Okay.
Lashon Avar is a past tense. K'moi va'yoimru laskori. That's the equivalent of if by males it would have said va'yoimru. They said. So in the feminine form you say va'tomarna. They said. Okay.
So v'tidaberna the fichem.
Right.
So when
you spoke with your mouths.
Okay.
Lashon dibarten. You spoke. K'moi
v'tidabru l'zacharim. Oh,
right.
it's the masculine.
Right. It's not. It's used in the same form as you would say vatadabru with regard to males.
Okay.
In other words, the masculine form is vatidabru, and the feminine form is vatidaberna.
Oh.
Okay, so that's where it's a second person, in the sense of in the second person.
Right.
First case of Vatumarna is in the third person, they said. And here is Vatidaberna, Befika means you spoke in the second person. Again, similarly,
Okay. V'techalelna oti el ami. Okay. So you cursed me to my people.
right.
Okay. Lashon avar chilaltem. Oh, it's so it's the
Chilaltem, that's
past
a different, right. In the
tense.
past tense, with the past tense from his chilaltem, you profaned me.
Profane.
Kamoi
Okay.
Vatachalalu leschorim. Same way in the masculine form, you would say Vatachalalu. And in the feminine form, Vatachalelna.
Wow. It's like a Hebrew course.
Right, correct.
So,
Yeah, you have to have a grammar lesson once in a while.
I see.
Okay, so that's what we're up to there. Okay, should we make a start on the next pasuk? Lou, you got this long Rashi. Well, let's make a start on it now, and we'll see. We'll carry on tomorrow. Okay.
The
Pasuk
Tamar
10.
na hamalat dos el paro ki lo cha nashim ha mitzrios ha ivrios he chayos hena but terem tavo alehen hame yaledes v'yaladu. The midwives said to Paro, because the Hebrew women are not like Egyptian women, for they are midwives.
So that this chayosen is not okay. It's a little bit of an incorrect translation. It means they're expert at giving birthing. They're expert at giving birth to children, to giving birth. Because you don't find a woman herself who's giving birth is called a midwife.
Right.
Okay? So Rashi's going to say, Bekios Kamiyaldus. They are expert like with midwives. Okay?
Mhm.
Right. And before the midwife comes, they have given birth already.
Right. Yeah, so right, the word before is a slight inaccuracy. It means that not yet. The midwife has not yet come to them, the Yolod, and they've already given birth.
Wow.
Okay? Terem, the word terem doesn't mean before, but it means not yet.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, B'terem is not
Turn for
yet.
today.
Yeah, you want to leave the Rashi to tomorrow, Bezat Hashem,
Yeah, okay. So
Very
it's
good.
not yet.
I'm up tomorrow.
Okay, Yeshkaya.
Okay?
Very good.
And to
Thank
tell the
you.
umpire, right?
Okay.
Have a great day.
Okay. Bye now.
Bye-bye.